Hello again, and welcome back to the world of Maria. So this is the new Nordic village, Viking village, whatever you want to call it. This is called Croyden, which I believe stands for low hills or low plains or something like that in the Norse language. I actually looked it up. Sadly, I don't remember what it is, but you can Google that word if you like and figure it out for yourself. But so far, I like where it's going. It took me a little while to get inspired to do this build. I wanted a good look for this place, and I think I kind of achieved it. So let me just show you this real quick. So this is Olaf's fishing shack, and it's just a small little thing that's on the ice, and I've got some water available there, and this torch keeps it from refreezing, which is kind of nice. It was the plan all along. And yeah, so that's just basically logs in the corners, and then I've got regular wood, and then uh, this is wool that's been retextured for the texture pack that has kind of like a, I think it's the pine trees actually, and then there's the same thing but with like a little banding around it on the ends, and that's sort of the roof style that's in this area. At least that's what I'm going with. This, I'll show you that one last actually. So this is just a house. Kind of figured the style for this one is they've got a lot of stones, they'd use on the ground floor. Yes, they can have a window here. They're not really common, I guess, just because it's the more windows you have in this kind of environment, the more heat loss you're going to have. But I don't think they would have been wise to the fact that heat rises and all the stuff that's upstairs is where the heat's gonna go. Things like that, so having the windows in the top floor is probably even worse. I don't know, but they need some windows just because they gotta have some light. And the roof probably should be something a little more substantial, like wood or whatever, but we can just assume that there's wood underneath it, and they just put the hay on there for like water shedding purposes, keep the wood from rotting because they can mix it with mud or whatever. I don't know. I don't want to get that into the builds. It takes the fun out of it. But same kind of story, except on this one I wanted to have these great big beam appearances. And one of the things I was thinking about doing is I currently have, well, I'll show you here. I've got this sponge that's textured to look like hay or whatever these guys down here. And then we've got the lime wool and the pink wool to give you those two colors there. And I don't think I need sponge and that wool to look the same. So what I was thinking is I might retexture the sponge one to look like this color of log or the lighter color of log. I can't remember if this is the light one, or I think this is the light one or the dark one of the two. But that way you don't have the end of the wood showing right there. It would just look like solid wood. So you can do beams that run horizontally and vertically if you wanted to. And that's something that's in Jamesy Boy Minecraft's texture edit. He's got that kind of a setup, except he did it with a nether brick, so that way you get fences and stairs and everything, which is awesome, but I like nether brick not looking like wood. In fact, I kind of want to change mine up because it has like a greenish hue to it, and that's all well and good if you're using it as like old iron tiles or something like that, because it has that kind of greenish hue when it ages. But when you're in the nether, it just doesn't look very good. So I think what I plan on doing is giving it sort of a reddish hue instead, so it goes back to what it looked like when it was in the nether. But so just kind of give you a little show around, show you how these were built. It's basically just two stairs back to back with the half step slab on there, and then this is a full block all the way around. Obviously it has snowed here, and then what I was talking about is that you got these beams in all the corners, and then like typically I'll go like 2 or 3 gaps between beams, And then you have the cobblestone set one space back, and then cobblestone stairs just to kind of give it like a slumped look where it, it just gets wider at the foundation and then works its way up to strengthen the walls and everything. Just kind of really thick walls. And then up top, they've got angled logs that go up to the peak, and then another angled log, but that's just behind this main log. And then you've got logs going across in the middle. And so if you make the structure like twice this size, you may have, like 4 bands coming down or something, or 5 bands coming down. I think 5 would be best, just so you always have a center log. You want to do an uneven number, but it could be either way. It's not that big a deal, I don't think, but I think it just looks better when it has one in the center. So the inside, you basically have to double everything up, which makes the inside significantly smaller, but that's okay because it gives you a nice tight feel. So when you're in here, this is double thick log, that's double thick log, everything's double thick. The only thing that's not is the corners, because, you can, doesn't really matter. In fact, I think this one might be, maybe not. You can't see it anyway because it's in a corner, but, and then, you double thick this right here. This is part of the diagonal, and then I put logs in the ceiling just to cap it off. You could easily just use wood or leave it open, doesn't really matter. But so I'm just kind of give you a little show around. So I've got like a little couch type thing there and some books. I put a wall in. It's like a little coat rack or something, I don't know. And then this is like the kitchen. There should be a fireplace of some sort in every build. So this one, I figured they can just run that like a fire if they wanted to. And I basically made the cobblestone continue straight up through the roof, which is what that chimney was. Then I've got water for like counter. I guess I don't really need that. It's kind of redundant now. Originally that was out here, and I had the water on this side, and then the stove was in the middle, and then I just made those to go across to kind of make them look the same, but I don't think it really needs it. And then I got like a little table. This probably would be a small household, like maybe a dad and son kind of thing or something. I got enough beds up here so it could be mom, dad, and kid or relative or something like that. But overall, I think it turned out pretty good. I put some beams here and there originally. Had some beams going across. I probably still could put a beam just like right there maybe. But the house is so small on the inside, I just don't think it needs it. It probably should have a beam underneath where this ladder is. Like maybe this edge right here would just be a big beam. I don't know. It works either way, but now I will show you the last build in the town, which is the Longhouse. This is basically like the keep or the castle of this Nordic village. It's just a really big, long house, and this is more typical of like the Nordic style, where they'd have these great big beams that cross each other, and then they would tool them on the tops to look like dragon heads or something like that. So kind of the same thing. It's a little bit different, I think, because I've got basically solid blocks. I tried putting upside down stairs and it just looked way too thick, and so I didn't like it, so I decided on this method where it's just a solid block right there, and then a stair, and then an upside down half block. And so you just kind of put stairs and solid blocks all the way up. And then right here, instead of a step right there, you put a solid block, and then a step backwards on top, another step back to back, and then a half step block again, and then a half step block in the middle right there, just to kind of keep that same angle all the way through. And I think that turned out pretty good. And then, on this side, it just kind of sticks up just a little bit, so you just get that little bit of a reveal. And then I added some things there just because this wall was kind of big and plain looking, and I didn't do it on this side, even though these ones have 4 gaps in between them. And then on this side I put a space. Oh man, looks like I need to add some more. But Oops. So that's how that looks, and I will show you the insides now. Oh, also, I'll explain these real quick because you're probably wondering what it is. So this is my version of like what their chimneys would look like for fire pits. So basically it's just kind of fenced off thing with a little roof to keep the water from getting in. Uh, that's sort of a method you'd have to have a fire going like 24/7, or this place would just be as cold as outside most likely because all the heat loss. But so I've got my little guy here that's sort of a Norse like Viking guy, I guess. He's got the 3 braided beard and little helmet and stuff like that. He's kind of cool. He's sort of like the receptionist when you come in here. He'll like tell you can go see the Jarl, which is a term that we got from Skyrim. So, and then there's like a little bedroom type thing here. These are more or less self-sufficient. They've got a little like stove, and I probably should make chimneys on the outside for those, but I figure, nah, I'm not gonna worry about it. But it's got everything you need, you know, to live here. You got your chest, you got your crafting bench, and you've got your little stove right there. So that's pretty much all you would need to do your crafting. And then this side's same kind of thing, but it's got another door that leads into this guy's little place. Probably should like put some pictures or something up just to let him have access. And so we continue. Let me close this real quick. Continue down here, and you've got the long tables where he can have his banquets with the townsfolk, and then here's their equivalent of like a king for this town, and he's got his great big chair, which looks cool until you actually put a guy on it, and it's just kind of cheesy, but what are you gonna do? And then he's got his little fires right below those little fire chimney things I was talking about. And there's so many different methods for thrones and stuff, but this one is just stairs and then a full block and then a half step block and then stair. And then behind him is 2 full blocks and a half step block and then a half step slab right there. And that's pretty much everything on this level. Now I will show you the upper level. And because this house is so wide, the roof gives you a lot more room up here, so you can see it's quite substantial. And so this is sort of like the little library area. I'm not sure if I want an NPC up here or not. I've got like some couch type thingies. Realistically, it probably should just be chairs or something, but I don't know. And then you've got this kind of balcony where more townsfolk could crowd around if he's gonna give speeches or whatever. And I don't like how you can't get close enough to look over fences. I think that kind of sucks. But I don't know. You can kind of see this way, I guess. But and then I put the beams going in the ceiling on the inside of the house as well. I didn't do that on the other house just because I didn't want the space, you know, to be gone, because having that beam there now it's like, you know, really low ceilings, but there's still, you know, enough opening. And then I made the beams right here that go down, but I didn't have them go all the way to the floor. I figured, you know, if they had these big cross beams, they could support those beams and stuff. So it kind of makes sense architecturally, but realistically those beams probably should have gone all the way to the floor. But I think it works. So, and then like I said before, if these were retextured to be like the sponge ones, you could have without the end of the wood there. But at the same time, it kind of looks like maybe they just cleaned them up, you know, like with a hatchet or something, and just chopped them flat. And that's why you can see it. So, I don't know. It kind of works either way. But all in all, I think that turned out pretty good. So, and then future plans, more houses. I want to build a market. This market is going to be totally different though. It's going to be essentially just like a large kind of squarish or maybe a plus shaped house. And then you go up a level and then there'll be like a smaller like plus shape above that, and then another level that's just a box like that. So I'm not willing to put it on here yet because I don't want to deal with putting out fires all the time. I'm doing that enough as it is. Also, I just wanted to point out that I have restocked the stores in Rowan. So I made them unlimited, so they'll never run out anymore, so I don't have to worry about filling those back up. I plan on doing that with the ones in Fourth Wind, and I believe Aaronshire is already set up that way. So yeah, anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I do have others planned. I'll probably do a step-by-step build of one of these style of houses, but they're really simple. It looks more difficult than it is. Like I said, it's just the corners are wood, and then you kind of step back for the cobblestone. But anyway, thanks for watching. Bye. On top, so it'll be probably the biggest building in town, but it'll be completely enclosed shops, and so like each wing of that plus will have a shop in it. And on the ground level, it may be like, you know, 4 shops in each wing of the plus shape, and then the next level up will be 1 shop in each wing of the plus, and then the very top level would be like maybe like the manager market area or whatever. And then I've got this large ocean type area over here, and my plans for this, I may go out to the center of it and select like a swath and then change the biome to like ocean or something so it won't keep freezing up. And I find it funny how with ice, I believe these are the chunks. No, are they? It's hard to tell when you're inside them. Yeah. So apparently you can see the chunks when you have solid ice. That's kind of interesting. See, I don't know how well it's showing up on YouTube there, but you've got kind of like a clearer look to the ice, so you can kind of see like a square, like a big giant square, and it's the exact size of 1 chunk. So I always wondered why it did that. So like when you're way up here in the sky looking down, you can kind of see this grid on the ice, and that's kind of like, why would it generate these giant squares? And I sort of suspected, but I never confirmed it until now, so that's why. That's just the chunk. And again, if you're wondering what makes me see these lines, that's World Edit CUI. So if you Google like Minecraft WECUI, you'll find it, and I think they just released like a newer version of it. I'm not 100% sure though. But yeah, so this is Croyden. And there's one more thing I can show you, but I'm not going to show you how to get there, so I'm going to stop recording for a second and then I will show it to you. Hold on. Okay, and we're back. So this is the little house that's in the mountains, and this is something that eventually when I get the scripting done, that's something that I haven't really talked about, but I plan on doing a lot more questing for you guys. So right now, if you haven't found it yet, if you go to Fourth Wind, the king has a little quest for you where he'll tell you about the priest in town and he's questionable or something. So anyway, if you haven't done it yet, you can go check that out. That'll earn you like some gold and stuff, so it's kind of cool. And a lot of you have just been grabbing books when you get to part of the quest, and there's definitely a secret in the location where the book is, but to activate it you have to go someplace that feels completely different, but in reality it's nearby. So that's all the hints I'm going to give you, but there may be 1 or 2 people that have found it already, so you might be able to find out by asking other people. But that's all I want to tell you. But anyway, so again, I'm going to have a quest that tells you how to find this guy's house, and he'll have an item you have to fetch and bring back. But anyway, this is kind of the same design. He's got the, you know, upper levels, all that kind of stuff, and take you inside here. So his house is pretty small. This is probably about as small as I would go for a house, and there's the guy there, and he's got like his little hermit table and his little hermit kitchen. And this one I thought was kind of cool. I built this in because behind these are the cobble steps so you can chew out that lower level and not worry about it being seen from outside, which is how I was able to put this stove and the other ones. And then right up here I put 2 upside down steps, so you get this kind of little shelf right there. And he's got his chimney, and then you can come up here and he's got like his little library area, whatever. And then he's got 2 beds, so he could have, you know, somebody else living with him, but I just kind of, you know, maybe he does, maybe he doesn't, I don't know. But the other thing that's kind of exciting too, I don't want to ramble on too long, but the other thing that's kind of exciting about this is I noticed they have a Citizens 2 coming out, and I think it's out now, but I had trouble locating it. But it'll let you have different people, like they have sentries, which are basically the same as guards. They've got wizards. You can have wizards now. They let you change the time or the weather or whatever. When you pay them some money, they'll do stuff for you. So I may put one of those in. I know Architicus was thinking about doing it. Hopefully I pronounced your name right. But anyway, yeah. So they've got some new stuff coming along, and I believe you can do stuff, which I'm really excited about if it's true, where you can have an interaction with a citizen, and then like a door will become unlocked for you, or the NPC will move to a new location once you speak with him, stuff like that. So that would be really cool. The only thing I don't know how it would work as far as like if one person talks to the guy, does it open that up for everyone, or does it save it in a file somewhere, or whether you found them or not, I just don't know. Or maybe when you finish the quest, it reverts back to the start, and then the next person can find him or something. I'm not really sure how it works yet, but it's still sort of in like beta, and they talk about having syntax errors and issues